For November 20th, 2009, this is News Undies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. A recent poll suggests that Americans feel that a 5.4% tax surcharge on high earners to help fund health care is unfair. The surcharge, as it appears in the House bill, would apply to people who make more than $500,000 a year or households with an income greater than $1 million a year. Strangely, people were completely on board with the idea that insurers, hospitals, and drug companies were making too much profit, but stopped short of agreeing that they should make less. Are we really, as a nation, that stupid? Yes, we are. Upon meeting Japanese Emperor Akihito, President Obama bowed, as is the custom in Japanese culture. In Japan, where Obama met the Emperor of Japan, who was, for those interested in such things, clothed. One blogger on the LA Times website went as far as to contrast Obama's nominally respectful bow against Dick Cheney's sneering handshake with the Emperor while standing fully erect. The suggestion appears to be that Cheney was the better American. The blog failed to mention former President Bush the Younger holding hands with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, not the king, mind you, the Crown Prince, and not in Saudi Arabia, on Bush's own ranch in Crawford, Texas. So Obama's groveling by bowing to the Japanese Emperor in Japan, but Bush wasn't pandering by holding hands with Prince Abdullah in Texas. Right. Twilight. Ted Haggard, you remember him, right? The evangelical preacher taken down by methamphetamine and gay sex. The, hypocrite. No, that really doesn't narrow it down. Anyway, Pastor Ted, as his sheeple call him, decided it was time to hold a home prayer meeting. And while the exact attendance is unknown, there are reports of more than 50 cars being parked outside Haggard's $700,000 home. While Haggard has denied that the meeting was a move toward starting a new church, it did bear a creepy resemblance to the similar meeting 25 years ago, which started the New Life Church. One idiot, pastor from New Mexico is reported to have told Haggard, quote, "Ted, nobody's defined by their worst moments," end quote. Nobody! Like Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, David Koresh, Nixon, the Catholic Church, Jim Jones, Mark David Chapman. We all remember them for being gentle, sweet humanitarians, like Care Bears without the stomach tattoos. We'll have more after this. Hey gang, it's time for Celebrity Birthdays once again. I got my cake hat on, let's rock! For Saturday the 21st, Renee Magritte, dead, Goldie Hawn, and Bjork. Bjork, I know, it's Bjork, I know. For Sunday the 22nd, Terry Gilliam, Stephen Van Zandt, and Tina Weymouth. For Monday the 23rd, Billy the Kid, he's really dead. Harpo Marx, he's really dead. And Bruce Hornsby, his career is dead. For Tuesday the 24th, William F. Buckley Jr., dead. Donald Duck Dunn, he's not dead. And Billy Connolly. For Wednesday the 25th, Joe DiMaggio, where has he gone? Oh, he's dead. Reinhard Furrer, dead. And Christina Applegate. For Thursday the 26th, Charles M. Schultz, dead. Boris Yegorov, dead. Waylon Flowers, where's Madam? They're both dead. That's Celebrity Birthdays. I'm Paul Torville and I am done! Pope Benedict XVI is urging Europeans to appreciate and defend the rich religious heritage of Europe. Yeah. 30 Years' War, Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades, the Holocaust, the Dark Ages, witch trials, and the shameless retardation of cultural and scientific advancement for centuries. There's something to cherish. Vampires. Sarah Palin, using her daughters as props, appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show to plug her new book, Goin' Rogue. Oh, okay, so there's a G at the end. All right, thanks. Going Rogue. Palin expressed disappointment regarding the path her former son-in-law-to-be is taking and reported that she is, quote, praying for him, end quote. So that should help. This show originates in the state of Rhode Island. Our illustrious governor has decided to veto a piece of legislation which would allow a person to claim the remains of and make funerary arrangements for their same-sex partner. Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
Well, of course they shouldn't be allowed to do. This is about gays, right? Yeah, this is about preserving the sanctity of marriage. Somehow. Praise Jesus! The governor has stood in the way of recognizing same-sex partnerships as valid relationships, then pointed to the lack of official recognition as a justification for denying them the most basic of rights. Governor Carcieri has demonstrated through this action that he is fundamentally insensitive, powerfully ignorant, and dangerously out of touch with the will of the people.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen is being treated for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Not sure how this is a technology story. Windows Marketplace for Mobile is the Microsoft answer to Apple's iPhone App Store. As one might surmise from the difference in the names, one might work better and be easier to use than the other. As with Microsoft's desktop OS offerings, not everyone is enamored with the latest and greatest version, and they tend to lag behind. Sometimes far behind. Sometimes to the point where new features can't or won't be backported to the old versions users cling to. So now the heterogeneity of the Windows mobile ecosystem has lived up to, or down to, the predictions of the Tim Robbins character from the 2001 nerd porn epic Antitrust. Quote, if the release management doesn't kill you in the first place, then version skew will get you over time. End quote. Almost in a puff of smoke, CNN fixture Lou Dobbs has flipped the network the bird and moved on. Dobbs, whose recent editorial excursions have taken on a decidedly xenophobic flavor, had become as much a liability to the moderate right as Glenn Beck is to the far right. In his farewell address, Dobbs seemed to suggest that it was he who decided to move on and not CNN management who had asked him to leave. While we may never know for sure, and it really doesn't matter, the New York Times has said that Dobbs had become a, quote, publicity nightmare, end quote, for the network. Naturally, his departure was voluntary. We'll have more after this.
You'll notice that when you watch NewsUndies, I'm always wearing a shirt from the Ursus Pacifica Sketch Cave. Well, now you can too. You can help support NewsUndies by going to the Ursus Pacifica Sketch Cave and getting some kitsch.
No, really. Vampires. After nearly 4 years, it's finally here. Get ready for the Word of Promise audio Bible. Not only is it elaborately produced with raining frog sound effects and a score performed by a 150-piece orchestra, but big-name actors including Malcolm McDowell, Richard Dreyfuss, Jason Alexander, and Luke Perry signed on to voice parts. Michael York spent 500 hours in the studio recording his narration, and Jim Caviezel resurrected his performance of Jesus for this production. Of course, 79 CDs is a lot. Given the $4 million it cost to produce, the $124.99 list price is a steal, but honestly, in terms of being an entertainment bargain, I think they would have been better served with more story and character development and a little less focus on the glitz. Has no one learned the lessons from the Star Wars prequels? And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, alleged mastermind of the 9/11 terror attacks and many other things if his revelations under enhanced interrogation are to be trusted, is to be transported along with 4 other detainees to Lower Manhattan in New York City to stand trial in a civilian federal court. In custody since at least March of 2003 and, on the Justice Department's and CIA's own admission, waterboarded over 180 times in 2003, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed will finally get the fair trial by an unbiased jury of his peers in Lower Manhattan. I mean, really, what could they possibly have against him there? Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. We'll be back with a fresh set in 2 weeks. Happy Thanksgiving, America. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be a pepperoni pizza. Pizza. Mmm.